Hello, everyone. I'm here to do something a bit silly today. I was bored, I had nothing better to do, and I was thinking about Game of Thrones. So I decided to straight up just make a tier list of the best characters on the show, because I know that we often talk about the characters and we have our opinions on which characters are good and bad. So this right here is going to be a quick improvised tier list of all the characters on the TV show, I think is what this is. I think they have a lot of characters on here, so I'm going to run through this. I'm going to try to rank these characters based solely on how good they are as a character in a narrative sense. So, for example, let's take like so Joffrey here. Obviously, as a person, he would be a complete like E tier. I should have an F tier actually. Wait, hold on. Let me fix that real quick. So as I was saying, Joffrey as a person, in terms of how nice he is and his character and all that, would obviously be an F tier, no question. But as a character on the show, in terms of how he makes the show better and or worse, he would not be an F tier. He would be way higher because he's actually kind of an interesting character and he serves as a very good villain, I think. So that's just an example of how this works. So this is completely just based on how cool they are as a character in the story, and not about their moral alignment or what they do. So yeah, I'm just gonna run through this. Let's go. No time to waste. King Robert. Oh, epic character. He's only in the first season, but he has extensive lore. Really good. I can't call him S tier because he's not on the show enough, but definitely A or B. Um, oh, now look. Now I'm gonna give him a B tier. He's good, but I question his intelligence. I think he's kind of dumb as well. But he is cool though. So there's that. Moving on, I think this is Sansa. Yeah, this is Sansa. Sansa is a weird one. I remember that when the show began, I didn't like her at all. I thought she was kind of like out of all the Stark children, excluding Rickon, she was by far the most boring one. I thought, just like the least likable one, stupidest one. But as the show went on, she had a pretty strong character arc. I thought she evolved a lot throughout the show. I thought that was pretty cool. She did get kind of stupid at the end, but everyone did, so it is what it is. So I'm gonna give Sansa a B tier as well. I think she was pretty cool toward the end. Well, not at the end, but in like the latter seasons before the apocalypse of season 8. I thought she was actually quite good. She was on the right track, so let's go with that. Arya is the complete opposite. Arya was great at the start and just got worse and worse progressively. Now her scenes with Tywin are some of the best in the whole series. She's very fun at the start. Um, I liked her whole gimmick with the sword training in season 1 with the what was his name? Syrio Forel was his name. I thought that was all very cool. And then she goes across the sea, and just like Tyrion, who we'll see soon, the moment they go across the sea, their character goes down the shitter, and it's just terrible. So I'm gonna give Arya, um, I'm gonna be, she's so insufferable. Like once she goes over the sea, like I just don't like anything in the story with her beyond the Tywin scenes. But the scenes with Tywin were so fucking good, and her position in the story was so good in like the good seasons, like season 2 through 4, that I'm gonna give her a C tier, but just barely, because she becomes so bad as a character. But I think she was really good, and that's enough to be a C tier for now. Okay, we got Bran, young Bran here from season 1, I believe. Bran, ooh, Bran is a very hard one to rate, because he has like of all of the major like storylines, sorry, of all like the major storylines throughout the show, his is like the most boring one to follow. I think of all the Stark children, like anytime you see a Bran scene, you're like ugh, and you fall asleep, like nothing ever happens. Um, the whole three-eyed raven thing, it was very cool as a concept, but then when he actually becomes the three-eyed raven, it's a lot less cool. Um, him ending up as king at the end is also dumb as shit. It makes no fucking sense whatsoever. It's completely contradictory to what he himself said previously in the show, as well as just the story in general. It's just horrible. Um, Nothing really makes sense there. So he's either a D or a C. I mean, he's not useless. Like he does some cool things, I guess, but I think his like the fact that he exists in the story actually limits the storytelling that you can do because he's so powerful in like later on. I think there's like just way too many plot holes because of how he functions. That I'm gonna give him a D tier actually. He might be the worst Stark actually, except for Rickon. Um, wait, who's this? Wait, who the fuck is this? Wait, hold on. Is this Rickon or is this someone else? You know, even if it is, it might be Rickon, but if it is, I don't fucking know. I'm not sure who this is, so I'm gonna put him here. Joffrey, now here we go. Joffrey, very interesting. I think that he's actually a good character. Like, he's a great villain, because you really do despise him, like, when he's on screen. Um, he's such a piece of shit. Like, truly, like, one of the most, like, vile, yet somehow kind of believable villains I've ever seen. Like, in fiction. I'm gonna give him... Oh, this is tough. He's almost an A tier. Like, he's a really good villain in just making you want to hate him. But it's also kind of dumb, the fact that he gets away with as many things as he does. I think it's a bit unrealistic that he gets to be such a prick for so long, and he's like fine. I'll give him a B tier still. Oh, and by the way, the tiers are in no particular order. I just kind of put them in. I might shuffle them around later. Okay, here we go. This is... Oh, fuck, what was this guy's name again? Fuck, what's his name? What was his name? I know who this is. He's the guy who is like, who has a crush on Daenerys. He's over fighting and stuff. Fuck, what was his name? Oh, whatever. You know who this guy is. Okay character, kind of a nice guy, but you know, a bit dubious. Not useless. You know, he does some stuff. He's quite active, but he's also a lapdog. You know, he's kind of a lapdog. So I'm not gonna give him too much credit. I didn't care for him too much on the show, but he was all right. I'll give him a C, I guess, like a weak C. Okay, you got Theon. Theon is a character who, although I think he was kind of popular, I never liked him. I thought he was a crap character. He was not likable, and he wasn't really meant to be. Then he becomes what was his name? Fucking Ramsay's bitch, which okay, and he's just kind of a tool for a lot of the time. He has a good ending, I heard. He does redeem himself at the end. He's one of the few characters on the show who has a decent ending, and that I have to give him credit for as a character. So I'm gonna put him in D tier. Um, if it wasn't for the ending, he would have been E tier, but I think D tier is fair. Oh, okay, let's go, Littlefinger. I know this is gonna be controversial because I know that I'm alone in this. Littlefinger's my favorite character. He's easy S tier. Amazing character like in the story. He makes things so interesting. Clearly, he's a horrible person, you know? That I cannot dispute, but he's such an interesting character. He's so cool in the way he does things. He has weaknesses too. Like he's OP as fuck in terms of his intelligence, but he also has weaknesses. You know, his weakness being his romantic inclinations and whatnot, which is a very realistic weakness. Like I think he's written like a very realistic, like political schemer who's actually good at what he does. The only thing that brings him down is at the end, his death is completely bullshit. There's no universe where he should die in the way he does. The moment that he has the conversation with Bran, where Bran says that, well, basically reveals that he somehow knew what Littlefinger was doing. He quotes Littlefinger, which he shouldn't be able to do, but of course he has the, you know, the three-eyed raven powers, so he knows. Littlefinger is very confused by this and looks a bit like mortified. And then he doesn't do anything about it. Like, if he knew that, he should have just left. And the Littlefinger of every prior season would have just left the fucking place and saved his life. But he didn't. He was slow to act, which he wouldn't have been usually in such a critical situation. And yeah, that's about that. But I love how, besides all that, I love how he like maneuvers his way throughout the game, like the Game of Thrones, without really having much to his name. Like, he's just some dude who became like Minister of Coin. And then he gets all these things, not because he is of like a great noble family, just because he's smart and he's written to utilize his strategy in a very realistic, but also like like he played Game of Thrones on like the highest difficulty and almost succeeded. And I think he's just really cool to me. So he's S tier for me. Um, okay, the Hound, fan favorite. I like the Hound a lot. In terms of story relevance, he's not too relevant. I mean, he does some things. He goes with Arya for that time, and I like that too. I should have mentioned it earlier. I like that little arc they had. He has that cool lore with the mountain, you know, Clegane Bowl and all that. Um, I like he has his own like moral code and shit. Like he's just a warrior doing his thing. You know what? This is kind of a weird one. I'm gonna give the Hound an A tier. I really like the Hound. I think he's really cool. Yeah, not relevant to the story as much as he could have been, but I think he's just like a really cool character to look at. Like every scene he's in, I like. You know, I like it whenever he gets a scene. You know, like when he was with Ari and he went into that like inn and he beat the fuck out of everybody. I thought that was pretty cool. So I like that. Moving on though. Okay, Sam here. Now this is Sam, right? Yeah, it is. So Sam Tarley here. I know he's kind of a beloved character. I never liked him. He's like in the Theon category for me, where I never liked him to begin with. He's not. He's a slightly better character than Theon, I think. Um, like he's likable, you know. Like Theon is very unlikable. Sam is, you know, he's very likable, but I don't know what to think. I don't really give a fuck. I never gave a fuck about Sam. His only decent purpose in the show is to serve as like a friend and ally to Jon Snow, I feel like. And he has some like funny like scenes, which I didn't really care for, but is he C or D? I guess I'll put him at a C because unlike Bran, he doesn't actively make the show like less logical. So he'll be like a low C, I would say. He's there with whatever this guy's name was. Fuck, I really wish I could remember. Okay, Tyrion. Okay, this one is very difficult, right? Tyrion, at the start of the show, like the first four seasons, arguably the best character on the show, and arguably the most popular character on the show. Incredible character, like so fun. Like every single time you were watching the first, like season 2 to 4, which I think are like the 3 best seasons. Like that span is some of the best stuff I've ever seen on TV. Um, During that time frame, Tyrion is probably the most fun character to watch. Like he always has the best scenes, the best lines, the funniest scenes, like the funniest moments, the great like shows of intelligence, like top 3 intelligent characters on the show, along with my boy Littlefinger. Like he's very intelligent. Like he's presented as a huge like threat, despite his people hating him and his size and all that. Like and great acting performance too. I don't really count the acting though, but as a character, I think he's fantastic. But then, just like Arya, he goes across the sea and completely loses his character, becomes utterly useless as a character. The moment he goes across the sea after killing Tywin in what was an amazing climax to a great story arc, he becomes completely useless for the rest of the show. He does nothing right. It makes no sense how dumb he becomes. So, like, if you just take him from like the first half of the show, like one of the easiest S tiers you possibly could have, but because of what happens later, he cannot be S tier. He has to be a bit lower. I'm gonna put him at. Okay, let's see here. It feels so wrong to put him below A tier because he's such a iconic. He's such an iconic character. No, but I'm gonna put him at A tier anyway because he totally carried the first half of the show. Like he was so good in the first half of the show. And he has good moments later too, just not very many of them. Like if you like him and Arya are very similar in that regard. They were both way better in the first half, but Arya, she was merely a good character in the first half of the show. Tyrion was probably the best character in the first half of the show. So Tyrion above Arya and the rest. Moving on to okay, good. Renly. Okay, so Renly you can barely even rate. He dies like immediately. He does very little. I mean, he is relevant to the story in that he declares himself king. Takes on his brother Stannis. Then he gets killed, and so Renly, more than anything else, serves more as a plot device. He serves as an instigator for Stannis to become a major character. He he serves as a major catalyst for Brienne to become active in the story on her own. So he does have like significance to the story on a level that like the Hound doesn't, for example. Like he does have some story significance, but as a character, he does like almost nothing. So I mean, he's gay, so that's cool, I guess. I think the actor was pretty cool, but yeah, that doesn't really matter. Like I don't hate him, like I don't dislike him as a character, but he doesn't do much. But you know, I'm gonna put him in D tier because he does have story relevance, you know. And he's not too unlikable, you know. I think he's like on par with Theon, I would say, as a character. Wait, is this? Wait, who's this? This is fuck. What was her name? Is she that woman who's like in the north? Ross? Is that her name? I think that's what her name is. She does like nothing. I'm gonna put her at F tier because she doesn't do anything. But I think that's who she is. Um, okay, this is I don't remember his name, but this is like the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch who doesn't like Jon Snow. Wait, or is this the guy who hates Jon, or is this the guy who liked him at first? No, I think this is the guy who disliked him. I think this is the guy who was like an enemy. Right? Is he? Wait, I'm gonna look this up real quick. Give me 1 second. Alright, I looked it up, and this is Jeor Mormont, and this is not the guy who hates Jon Snow. This is the guy who is the boss when Jon gets there. So this guy's pretty cool. You know, he dies later at Craster's Keep, which directly leads to Jon's election as Lord Commander. So he has some story significance. He doesn't do too much, but he seems like a nice enough leader. He does a great he's a great contrast to the guy who comes later, which is Alistair. Alistair, right? Alistair Thorne is the guy who comes after. But you know, this guy's pretty cool. But again, doesn't really do too many things. I'll put him at D tier. Um, or yeah. I mean, he's such a non-entity. Like as a character, he's like you don't really see much of his personality. I think he's just like the stock leader kind of. So that's cool. Um, moving on. Wait, is this one of the guys at the watch? What's this? This is one of Jon's friends, right? Is he? I think so. But Jon's friends, I didn't care for. I'll put him at E tier. This is this is this Lysa Arryn? Is this Lysa? I think it is, right? This is Lysa. Um, Lysa Arryn, lore significance, but I hated her as a character. All she does is just do dumb shit. She's fucking terrible as a character. I don't like her at all. She was just fucking with people. She gets killed by Littlefinger, which I kind of like that scene, but as a character, she's just really, like, disturbing. The way she deals with Robin, who comes later, her son. So she is like, E or F. Like, there's nothing I like. No, she's an F tier, and I'm gonna move Ross up actually, because I don't think she does anything, but it's not the same. Lysa Arryn, complete garbage as a character. There's nothing likable about her, even though I think you're meant to feel like slightly sympathetic towards her, but I think they fail at presenting that in a good way. She just does horrible decisions over and over again. Very disturbing how she treats Rob and her son with the whole. I'm not gonna go into that. If you remember the show, you know what happens. Gets utterly played by everybody, and although she does have some lore significance, she's only significant in as far as Littlefinger and Sansa take over her territory, basically. So she's completely terrible. Robin, who is a living plot device by the purpose that he succeeds her, and he only exists to basically allow Littlefinger to have a base of power. But as a character, he's completely like hateable because he's a kid, he's a dumb kid who is like spoiled rotten and has no intelligence. Now, of course, he's a young child, so you can't expect too much of him. But as a character on the show, there's nothing there's nothing good about him when he's on screen. So I'm gonna put him with his mom at F tier. Oh boy, here we go. This could be a bit controversial. This is Bronn, Sir Bronn of the Blackwater. Bronn is a character who, in the books, is completely, well, not completely irrelevant, but he doesn't do much in the books. On the show, he became a fan favorite for his comic relief, and they do way more with him than they probably should have. I thought he was very funny, like comparatively to a lot of other characters at the start. I liked his interactions with Tyrion; they were a good comedy duo. But then once he separates from Tyrion, he just becomes kind of a running gag that gets old, you know? Like I stopped finding him funny, um, like halfway through the show, and then they just keep like ramming him into the ground, and like we've seen. So they give him so many things on the show. He doesn't really deserve them as a character because he shouldn't be that important. He's just this random sellsword that goes around and beats everybody at duels. Even though I don't think he's meant to be this like S tier duelist, but he's presented as such. Even though it makes no sense for him to be that. He has this thing with Jaime, which started pretty cool. I think where he like trains Jaime to fight with his left hand, and then they go on the expedition to Dorne. Only problem is that everything that happens in Dorne is completely useless. That whole plotline was dumb as hell, and and then at the end, he just walks in and gets the fucking one of the big kingdoms, right? Like the big one that the Tyrells were from. He gets that Highgarden, I think, at the end because he's threatening them. They could have just arrested him, but they let him have it, and then he becomes master of coin, despite the fact that he earlier in the show stated that he does not know what a loan is or how loans work. So I think it all makes no fucking sense what happens to this guy. He started good, but he becomes just really unlikable, I think. So I'm gonna make him. Okay, let's compare to the people we do have. He's either C or D. Um, but I'll make him a D because he has like no plot significance, or he shouldn't have. So we'll make him a D. Oh, this guy. This is fucking. This is the Maester, the guy on the council, the old guy. What was his name again? What was his name? Whatever. We all know who he is, at least. I remember who he is, but I don't remember his name. Whatever the fuck his name was. He was like mildly funny. He dies like halfway through the show. I think he served his purpose like on the show as like a political figure. I kinda enjoyed his character like a little bit, but he was never as good as like the other people in the council like Littlefinger or Varys. So, but I don't think he ever took away from the show. He was a schemer, which you saw like I think his schemes were like very subtle. I thought. He also had some perversions, which was kind of funny for his old age. So I'm gonna give him a C. This might be a bit controversial, whatever his name was, but I think he was actually a decent character. Oh, here we go. One of my other favorite characters. Varys was very similar. I mean, him and Littlefinger are like two sides of the same coin. But whereas Littlefinger did everything for himself, Varys did it for the realm as a whole. And he's like the guy I relate to the most in the show in terms of like the psychology behind his character. Like, he's the guy I like. I really like what he was like trying to do. His character was kind of cool. The spider. He was like the master of whisperers or whatever. Like he was like the spy master guy. He had all the spies going on. He had all the info. He has a very it's implied he has a very complex lore. He had that the backstory where he was castrated, which is pretty messed up. So he has a lot of things going for him. I think it goes really well. But then of course, like a lot of other characters, he goes across the sea with Tyrion later. It becomes so much worse as a character. Then he comes back later and it's just a non-fact. He's a non-entity for like the entire end of the show, and his death is completely nonsensical. So, there is that. So, although I love him, like, on a similar level to Littlefinger, I have to say Littlefinger is way more, like, entertaining than Varys. So Varys ends up in A tier for me. Littlefinger is better than him as a character, but I think this guy has a lot of merit. And this is also an unpopular opinion because I know you guys don't fucking like Varys as much as I do, but I like the smart characters. That's all it is. Moving on. Is this Loras? Is this the gay guy who was gay with Renly, who then is meant to be married off to Cersei, right? I remember him at least. I thought the actor was really good, but I mean, he stays around for a bit, but he doesn't really do much, and he has like nothing going on. Really, he has some like scenes. Um, he is presented in kind of a funny way though, so like he is. He might be better than Rindley. Nah, I'll put him at D tier. He just doesn't do anything, I don't think. Okay, Cersei. Cersei, a major, very important character. I like Cersei as a character a lot. Obviously very unlikable, but I think she is a very good character on the show. Like, her position in the story politically is very strong. She has her hand in like everything. She's very good, I think. Um, she has like no downsides to her. Like, I don't really. Well, I mean, of course she has downsides to her, but like as a character, like narrative wise, I think she's actually very solid in the way she exists in the story. You know, she's one of the most evil characters on the show. But there's also a degree of sympathy when all her kids fucking die around her and shit. Like, it's pretty messed up. So I mean, she's up there. She's a very good character, I think. A tier or S tier? We'll put her at A tier. Very good character though, I think. Um, who's this? I thought this was Catelyn at first, but it's not Catelyn. She's down here. Who is this? I have no idea who this is. I'm gonna put him at don't know who they are. Um, this guy. Who the fuck is? Who is this? Am I just? Well, I'm just forgetting everyone here. Again, I don't know who they are. This guy, I remember. Wait, is this Barristan? Is this like the super badass like guard guy? Cause he's a fucking yeah, Barristan the badass. He's cool as fuck. I think that's him, right? And then he goes over to the east, right? You know, he gets dismissed when Joffrey becomes king. Um, I don't know how much he does in the story, but he is such a badass. Like, he's so cool, and his lore is fucking insane. He is a B tier, I would say. B for Barristan, the badass. Okay, Khal Drogo here. Khal Drogo more of a plot device than anything else. You know, a catalyst for Daenerys to do her stuff. Um, it's not much to say, really. Like, he isn't a bad character. He's a D tier, I guess. Fuck it. Oh, Hodor! Oh, here we go. Hodor. Okay, now Hodor. I could do a meme and put him at S. Fun fact. I stopped watching the last thing I remember seeing at Game of Thrones, because I quit like halfway through season 6. After I just saw like clips and stuff and read about the episodes and the reviews. Hodor was like the last thing I saw. The last episode I saw was when he held the door and the whole like flashback thing. That was great. I loved that scene. He made the Bran stuff so much better. He's way better than Bran. Um, Obviously, as like in the story, he has very little significance. So I can't give him too much points there. But he is cool as fuck. Very likable. Well, he's like the most likable, like most pure character on the entire show. Like, he's almost like a fairy tale character, but he's just so unbelievably like nice. He's just pure goodness. He's a complete idiot. Obviously, he's a dimwit, but that makes him so likable. So I'm gonna put him at A tier. I feel so bad putting him at A tier. I think B tier is more sensible. But he's so likable though. He's so unbelievable. Yeah. Nah, he's a B tier. I have to stay a bit objective here, but he's so likable. Um. Okay, this guy, I don't remember his name, but he's one of those like Lannister like cousins who is he gets bullied by everyone. Um, his name is on the tip of my tongue. But I know who he is. He gets bossed around by everyone. Complete like nothing character. Has no backbone whatsoever. Um, doesn't he? Isn't he like? No, doesn't wasn't he like he? Didn't he have sex with Cersei in one scene, despite being related? I mean, she loved her incest, but I think he did that in like one scene, and then that became a problem. Very strange stuff, but overall, there's nothing to this guy. I'm making him an F. Like, there's nothing about him I liked. All I saw was just negative. Um, Okay, this is the guy in the north. He's like the maester of like the Stark area. I don't remember his name, but he's like with Bran at the start. He's like Bran's sort of like teacher, I think. And, decent character, but doesn't really do much of anything, so we'll give him a D tier. This is the Alicent Thorne guy. This is the guy who hates Jon Snow. Um, becomes Jon's like #1 rival at like the Night's Watch. Just a complete asshole, very unlikable. He does serve his purpose as an antagonist. I have to give him that at least. But he doesn't like do it. I mean, he does have that kind of cool line at the end where he serves as like his last line to Jon when he gets executed by Jon. He says like, "Oh, I'll rest, but like you have to keep fighting" or something like that. So that's kind of cool. I'll put him at like a D tier though because at least he has some relevance, This is the Wildling girl. I don't remember what her name was, but she goes with Bran and the rest. She was kind of cool. Like she was all right. I don't remember what happens. I think she gets killed, right? Like at some point. She's all right. Yeah, D tier. Fuck it. Is this the Targaryen guy on the Night's Watch? Who the blind guy? Was Aemon Targaryen? I think his name was Aemon, right? He is actually you know what? This might be a bit weird. I'm gonna give him a C tier. He did very little on the show, but he was very cool. Has like some incredible lore if you like look at the wiki and read the books and whatnot, which is canon to the show by the way, so it counts. Incredible lore. Does serve a cool purpose. He's one of the few like allies, like true allies Jon has at the Wall, who's very intelligent. He's like he then trains Sam, right? He trains Sam later to like take over as like the maester of the place, right? So he has some significance. He's a Targaryen. He has like lore significance. He later dies, I think. I don't remember. I know he definitely dies. He was old as fuck, but I liked him. But he didn't do more to earn anything higher than this. But yeah, he was cool. Catelyn. Oh, here we go, Catelyn. One of the Catelyn really bad. I never liked her as a character. She does all the bad decisions. She lets out Jaime when it's clearly a fucking trick. She lets Jaime go. Her actions are so fucking stupid. Rob has to like punish her for it, which is he should never have to do. All she does is bitch and moan the whole show about things going bad. And whenever she does something, it like always goes to shit, and then she dies at the wedding, right? Of course, in the books she lives on as this like undead creature, but on the show that never happens. So I'm gonna put her at E tier because at least she had some story significance, but she's marginally above her sister Lysa. But she's terrible. Like she's a really bad character, I think. There's some minor level of sympathy, I guess, but I think she's just not likable at all, not in the books either. Oh, who is this again? This is. Yeah, wait, is this? Wait, hold on. Let me check the other characters. This might be. Is this Rob's wife? The one he marries? I think so. I mean, she's nice. She doesn't do much. But, when she gets killed with, like, the baby in her belly, that was pretty gruesome. That's one of the most gruesome scenes on the show, I think. Like, holy fuck. And other than that, she's nice and all. She's pretty hot, so that helps. I'll give her a D tier, but, like, yeah, whatever. Brienne, okay, so Brienne, fan favorite, very popular character. She does things. I can't say I like her too much, but she's not terrible. She's not a bad character, She's kind of cool. I mean, she does do some things, Brienne of Tarth. She kills Stannis. So she accomplishes her goals to some extent, to a pretty good extent, and then I don't know what she does later on the show, but I mean, she's there. Her storyline with Jaime is actually quite good. Yeah, I think for that she gets a C, actually. Maybe you could argue a B, but I'll give her a C. But like a strong C. I might read. Oh fuck! Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Let's put Hodor back where he belongs. Okay. Sir Davos. Davos, very likable character. Um, quite cool. Some story significance. Very nice guy. I liked him a lot actually. I thought he made those scenes like the scenes he was in. I think he was good in those scenes. He was like the voice of reason for Stannis. I'll give him a B tier. I liked him actually. I liked him a lot. Uh, let's go, baby. This might be the last S tier. Tywin Lannister, easy S tier. Incredible character. Every single scene he's in is like incredible stuff. It's like him and him. Okay, I think he is very popular. I know you guys think he's the best character. It's either him or Littlefinger for me. Like he's top two for sure. Amazing character. Charles Dan's incredible actor as well. Um, such an intelligent character. Very cool, very authoritative. He has so much influence. The scene where he completely like dominates King Joffrey at the meeting, with his words. And he just tells him to go to bed. When he tells the king to go to bed, and like Joffrey doesn't dare to like go against him because he has so much fucking authority. Like he's such a cool character, like incredible character, and he is like incredibly significant to the story, right? Because he's like the Lannister patriarch. He's like basically the regent, right? Like he does so many things, and he basically is the king. Like he's the power behind the throne, so he has like all the power in the world. He's so widely respected. He has all the political connections. Like he like manipulates people. Like he has all the things that I like in like a political character. Like he's incredible character, and then his death is also really good. I think he meets his end in such a poetic way. He gets killed while taking a shit, which that sounds dumb, but the scene was really good. And then Tyrion, of course, gets his good moment after the guy had abused Tyrion for his entire life, essentially. Such a good character, man. He might be the best. He might be above. I think actually because how Littlefinger died, I think Tywin is actually the best character. I'm gonna put him at number one. Um, Now Stannis. Moving on to Stannis. This guy I don't think was very liked. This is naughty. This I think is an underrated character. As a person, very boring, uncharismatic, uh, and all these things. And that's all true. I cannot argue with that. However, I think that actually that speaks to his benefit. I think it makes him even better in the story in the way he deals with people. He's such a monotone character, but I think it's cool because he stands out a lot from all the other more like colorful characters. His role in the story is very important. He's technically speaking, right? If going by feudal law, he is legally the rightful king of Westeros. And Stannis is the true king of Westeros. I stand by this. He should have been king. Like, if this was real life, he had the actual best claim to the throne. Because, of course, all of King Robert's children were bastards, which means they are not able to be legitimized for the throne. This is how real life feudal law works, which is what the show was based on, by the way. Where Stannis, then it goes to his brother, which Stannis is. He's the brother of Robert. So he's up there. He does do some dumb stuff later though, but but not too dumb. He is definitely B tier. He might be a weak A tier for me, but that might be a bit controversial. That being said, he's probably on the same level as his brother Robert, so he's gonna be a B tier. Marjorie, oh god, known for her seductiveness. I liked Marjorie as a character. I thought she had a good part of the story. I thought she was good in the scenes she was in. She was never like a bad character in any scene. She did have some plot significance. She had her politics going around. I'm gonna give her a B tier. I thought she was quite good actually. This is the wildling girl who Jon falls in love with. What was her name again? Ygritte. Ygritte was her name. Good character, fun scenes. Fun fact, of course, the actors. Kit Harington and what was her name again? Was it like fuck? I remember the name of the woman who played Ygritte, but they became they're a couple in real life because of the show, which is pretty cool. That doesn't really matter here though, but I thought that was just a cool thing to share if you didn't know that. Good character. She dies later on, but I think she serves a great purpose. Like her interplay, both sexually and otherwise, with Jon, I think is very good. She's either a C or a B. I don't. It's hard to say. But she's a good character. She's a very good character. I think. I'm gonna give her a weak B tier. Actually, I think she deserves it. Who the fuck is this guy? I don't know who this is. He's getting I don't know. Oh, who was this? I recognize him. Who was this guy? Is this? Wait, hold on. Let me see. Is this Edmure? Well, I'm gonna see, I'm gonna try to confirm my suspicions real quick. Give me a moment. Okay, so I looked at. I think this is Edmure Tully. I'm not sure, but I think this is Edmure. And assuming it is Edmure, he's an E tier. He's not a good character. I don't remember much of what he did, but the few things I do remember is him being a fucking dumb prick. So we're gonna put him at E tier. Moving on, I don't know who this is, so we're gonna put them here. Oh, no, this is gonna be painful. Jaime Lannister, one of my favorite characters for like the entire show. So I was so shocked to like him as much as I did, because like when you see him in season 1, I got this idea of what he probably was going to be, like, you know, a stereotypical image of his character, this like arrogant douchebag. But he becomes so much more than that. Like, he has like one of my favorite character arcs of all time, I would say. But then the ending, the last episode, completely kills his entire character, and then he dies. And that is so sad. Because he would have been an S tier if it wasn't for like that one. Cause he did good until like not just like the last season, the last episode that he was in. But because of how great his arc was, I'm still gonna put him at A tier. But it's narrow because that was maybe the worst ending any character got on the show. And oh, it was tragic. It truly was tragic what they did to him at the end. But he's still so. All the 3 Lannister children here are A tier. That's kind of cool. I'll put them next to each other. Actually, that looks cool. So yeah, and that is pretty nice. Okay, who's this guy again? Is this the kid who is like with John, or is this, wait, who's? I'll put him at here. I'm not sure who this is. Wait, no. Wait, this is the. Wait, is this the guy who was with Arya? Wait. I'm trying to figure out who the fuck this was. Now I'll put him at don't know who the fuck they are. I don't remember. I think I know who it is, but I don't want to take a risk. Now, Lady Melisandre. This character, like, she's a hard one to rank because she's very important to the plot. I didn't like her that much when she was on screen, but she's very important to the plot. She has some interesting lore to her. You know, she's quite powerful. She has her magic and stuff like that. She's like kind of interesting, I guess. But I never liked her on screen. Like, there was a problem there, definitely. So I'm gonna put her at D tier. Getting a bit clogged here. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is what was her name? Greyjoy. She's Theon's sister. I don't remember. Fuck. She didn't do much, but she was likable. Like, fuck it, D tier. Who cares? This guy. This is. Is this? Oh, fuck. What's his name? This is the guy who takes Arya with him, right? This is the guy with like the many-faced god. Fuck, I don't remember his name, but I do remember what he did. Now, he was very interesting, right? He was cool and stuff. He was cool when he came in, right? He killed the people on at Arya's request, you know. He then has her come over to the place, right, and they do the stuff. Then he dies in a very dumb way with this prophecy thing, and he doesn't do much besides that. So, like, he gets a D tier merely by virtue of being kinda cool, but he doesn't, like, his story-wise, he's very confusing. Grey Worm, ooh, this is kind of a difficult one, too. Grey Worm, he's like sort of significant because he leads the Unsullied, great warrior. He's with Daenerys this entire time. I think he's quite likable. I think he's pretty cool. Um, Besides just fighting, he doesn't do much though. He has this like romantic subplot with Missandei, but I don't really care about that. And then at the end, he acts like a complete retard once Daenerys has gotten killed. So, ah, nah, he's like a weak D tier. Ooh, okay, here we go. This is Beric Dondarrion, Loki's favorite character in the books. On the show, however, he does almost nothing. He's a complete sideshow on the show. But he is really fucking cool in the way that like he's presented, right? But he has no real significance at all. He's this cool dude because the Brotherhood without banners does like nothing on the show, so he gets a D tier. But he could be so much more, but sadly he's a D tier on the show. Missandei, advisor to Daenerys. That's the only a mildly better character than Grey Worm. I don't really care. This is wait, this is the Wildling King, right? This is fucking, what's his name again? The King Beyond the Wall. Fuck, I don't remember what his name was, but I thought he was kind of cool. He clearly is very relevant to the plot. You don't see him that much, but he has the whole thing with Jon Snow. I think he's very reasonable. Like, he's pretty intelligent, I think, and cool. So, although you don't see him like much at all, I'll give him a C tier. I thought he was all right. Okay, this guy. What was his name again? This is the comic relief character of the North. Well, we all know who he is. He pals around with Jon, has some funny moments, has some otherwise not funny moments. He's sort of in like Bronn territory. Him and Bronn are like the same character, but from different parts of the place. Only this guy is slightly better because he's funny, sort of, kind of. He hangs around, where things happen, I don't know. Like, I think he's less stale than Bronn is, but Bronn actually does more. I will put him at D tier. I'll put him next to Bronn, actually. Ramsay. So I gave Joffrey a B for being a great villain. I'm gonna give Ramsay also a B because they're basically the same character in terms of what they are meant to be. They're supposed to be this complete, like vortex of evil who is just so fucking despicable. Ramsay is more evil than Joffrey, though. Most certainly. The things Ramsay does are way more despicable. But I think Joffrey is slightly more interesting as a character, so it's kind of a tie between those two. Oh, here we go. Daenerys. This is gonna be controversial because, of course, Daenerys is one of the main characters on the show. Popular in the mainstream. I think as a character, she is really bad. She could have been so much more, but plot-wise, she is awful. Totally awful. I never cared much about her, like plot. Like whenever it was over in her place, I never cared much about her. She makes so many bad decisions as a character. Like, and you can say that as a strength because if she did everything right, you could argue that then it would be kind of OP, and that's not fun either. But like, I feel like in some cases she should know better. She's so emotional. She acts on instinct and like rash emotional, like behavior way too much. And at the end, of course, you have her become evil, which I like the fact that she became evil. I thought that was the right thing to do with her character, but they did it way too quickly and horrible execution. So I think that she is really bad. Like, she is not good. She's like in like Catelyn. She's an E tier, Catelyn territory. Just not likable at all. I think she was never a likable character. I'm gonna be honest with you. So there is that. Emilia, the actor is very good actress, but the character terrible. Okay, let me just take a quick moment to catch my breath here. All right. All right, moving on. Olenna Tyrell, I like the political characters. Very interesting, great performance by the actress. I liked her part in the story a lot. She was a huge thorn in Daenerys' side. I'm giving her a B tier. Very good character, I think. Um, who the fuck is this? I don't remember who this is. I remember this guy's appearance, but I have no idea who he is. This is. Excuse me. This is whatever his name was. This is like the scientist who Cersei hires to blow up the thing. I think he's decent. He does stuff in this. He's also the guy who resurrects the mountain. So I don't know about that, but I'll give he really shouldn't be higher than like a D tier when you think about it. Compared to the people in here, he's a D tier. Fuck it, I don't like him anyway. Who is this again? I recognize him. Fuck, who was he? Nah, I'll put him here. Okay, so this is This is King Tommen. Now, King Tommen, I feel bad for him on the show. I think he was sort of likable, but he was also entirely useless. So I think he gets a D tier. You can maybe argue E, but whatever. Okay, this is the guy who is this Dario Naharis? This is the guy who goes with like Daenerys, who does the whole stuff with her. Don't they smash at some point? I don't know. He does have like a cool fight moment, I think, so that's cool. I'll give him a D tier. Here we go! I was waiting for this guy. This is fucking one of the Martell. Fuck, Oberyn Martell. This guy, his lore significance is not that great, but by God, what a badass! This guy is such a Chad. Holy shit, unbelievable character. He was only in like half a season, right? Like he was there for like, he was there in like season was like 5, I think, maybe. He was in one of like the later seasons before. Like he was there like just before it became bad, I think. He has like that incredible fight with the mountain. Yeah, he got cocky. But man, such a cool character. Like everything he did felt so natural to the way they presented him. Like he was, oh man, what a great character. He's an A tier. He's not S tier because his relevance to the plot is not great. But by God, is he fun to watch. Like what a cool guy. Like he steals every scene he's in. And he's the only good person from Dorne on the entire show. That's actually cool. But by God, what a character! Holy shit! He defends Tyrion. I remember at the time he was in the show, right? That's when I started feeling that the show was losing its great edge, right? I think it was season 5 he was in, because season 4 was like the peak for me. And then you see him come in, right? And like he's like keeping the show alive for me, like for a while. Like every single time I see him, I would like perk up and be like, yes, it's Oberyn. Let's see what he does. And he would like do some cool shit. He would always talk shit to people very elegantly, He was having like orgies with people of all genders, which was, I'm not into that myself, but that makes him look like kind of a Chad if you ask me. He could do that. He helps out Tyrion purely based on honor, which I thought was cool as fuck. Like the way he had like bided his time for the revenge and shit. He comes into the capital as like a representative from Dorne, gives no fucks at all. Just keeps fucking. He just fucks with like everyone. Like he fucks with Tywin. He fucks with like Cersei. Like it's hilarious. Great stuff. Like he might be like he's like touching S tier. If only he was a bit more important in the story, I would give him S tier because he's such an entertaining character. But he's like peak A tier. I'm gonna put him at the top of A tier. I will I will like shuffle the people around within the tiers a bit later. But yeah, moving on. Okay, this bitch. This is the bitch in Dorne. Just don't like her. Tiny bit of significance, but she's the one with all the sand snakes. Just complete like nothingness. Don't like her at all. We're gonna put her at E tier. This is Myrcella. This is Jaime's daughter. Okay, now look, she does nothing on the show. I'm gonna give her a D tier not an E tier because although she does like nothing, she gets killed. I think the scene she gets killed is genuinely very sad. Like I thought that was a very like cool scene. She tells Jamie that she knows he's her dad. She tells him that like, oh, and I'm happy that you are. And I thought that was very nice. Like despite everything, and then she dies right after. Man, that was so sad. But she does nothing, so she's D tier. Okay, this guy. I don't remember what his name was, but this is Daenerys' brother, who is a complete fuckhead. Um, he's either an E or an F tier. He's a complete asshole. Just comes over. Everything he does gets thwarted. He's a complete. Nah, he's F tier. He's complete garbage. He of course he's meant to be unlikable as fuck. He serves as a plot device more than anything else because he brings Daenerys over to the east. But yeah, he's fucking terrible. Was it v Viserys or was that a different Targaryen? I don't know. Moving on. Okay, now we get the sand snakes. I'm just gonna do it right now. All the sand snakes, every single one of them, F tier. Worst, completely like waste of space on the show. Weren't there 4 of them? Or was it 3? Fuck, whatever. These are the ones. They're all there. Um, this is the fucking the Sparrow guy, the guy who released the religion thing. This guy, I'm gonna be honest with you, is my like if he was a real person like on the show, right? He is my most hated character on the show in terms of like his character because he is. I think he's such a fucking slimy. He's one of those guys, right, where like he does a bunch of bad shit and hides behind religion and being this like common man virtuous guy. He's like a populist, who just does bad shit and he like wears like the guise of the people. But of course, as a character on the show, he is kind of significant. And he's very important on the show, like in the later seasons. Only problem is that when he does become powerful, that's when the show is going downhill pretty fast. But besides all that, it is what it is. So as a character, I really don't like him, but he is important enough as to he makes D tier just barely. So it is what it is. This is one of the Dorne princes, right? Or is this the fuck? I mean, but all the Dorne fucking give them E tier. They don't do anything. Oh, here we go. So this is this fucker. What was his name again? Euron Greyjoy. He comes. So it looks for a while, right? Like Theon and whatever, and his sister was gonna do some good stuff with the Greyjoys. Then this guy comes in Euron. He's been like on a journey. He has great lore and shit, right? Comes in, basically takes the throne, and starts becoming like an antagonist. It all looks good at the start. Only problem is, in the books, he is like so cool. Like he is like the best character one of the best characters in the books. He dresses like a badass. He is a badass. There's this lore of him going like across the world finding like artifacts and shit. This is lore about him going into this like part of the world that like no one ever leaves alive, but except for him, he somehow made it out alive without a scratch. He has this ship called Silence in the books, where every single member of the ship has had their tongues cut out so they can't talk. It's all like incredible, like cool shit. I don't know if he has that on the show. Or were they that? I don't remember if they had like the tongue thing on the show. But here's the problem, right? He is miserable on the show. He is one of the least likable, worst, most like misrepresented characters on the entire show. He is terrible. There's nothing about him I like. He's just this fucking dumbass geezer who goes around, just does shit and acts like this big. He goes around. He seems like a guy to me who has a small penis and tries to compensate for it. That's what I feel like when I see this guy, and he's just completely like off on the show. Nothing makes sense. He's like either E or F for me. I really don't like him on the show. He's like a weak E tier. I don't know who the fuck this is. I have no fucking clue. And I don't know who this is either. This guy looks familiar, but I don't know who he is. Um, anyway, Jon motherfucking Snow. Here we go. Jon Snow as a character on the show, of course, you could argue he is like at parts the main character. Cool character, you know. I think he's very likable most of the time. Um, the moment where he died was like shocking as fuck, but then he gets rest, you know, which is it is what it is. Of course, incredibly important character, one of the main characters, you know. Kind of a cool arc, but I think it kind of lags in certain parts. I think his arc isn't perfect. I think there are issues. Um, but he's a nice guy, you know, one of the more virtuous characters on the show, but with some edge to him, so definitely a good character. Um, he's better than Arya, I would say. I think he ends up in B tier, I'm gonna be honest with you, because he does some really dumb things. And, you know, in the last season, or like at the end, when he's with Daenerys, his character goes down the shitter. The whole, like you are my queen, or something like that, right? Like, or Daenerys is my queen. He just keeps like saying that line over and over again and doing nothing, and then somehow he gets away with killing Daenerys, which is kind of funny. Yeah, I do like that he did that, like for his character, but I think that made sense. But but a lot of things didn't. So he's a B tier. Moving on, we got who's this? I don't know who any of these people are here. But these two I definitely know. So we got Rob, you know, who dies like in season 2, I think. And Rob, I like Rob as a character. I think Rob did most things right, except for like the one thing, right, where he disrespected Walder Frey. Wait, where's Walder? Shouldn't he be on the list? Did I miss him? Oh no, wait, is this Walder Frey? Wait, hold, let me check. I don't know if it is. I actually don't think so. I don't know where. There's some characters missing. Where's that black pirate guy? He should be on there. Anyway, I'm sorry, that's the Rob first. Rob, good. I think he's a good character. Um, he's also not. I mean, he's a B tier. I think he's very solid. Um, but of course he dies early. But you know, like he's a very like stable character. Like he has nothing bad really going for him, but he's not like so great. Like these guys have something that makes them super either fun to watch or just very interesting, right? He isn't like he's not that, I would say. Oh, wait, where's the mountain? I just realized where's the mountain on this fucking list? Hmm. Man, this list is fucking odd. But finally, it all makes sense. We end where it all started. Ned Stark. Ned Stark as a character is so important for the story. He's a great character already because he's such a nice guy. He's like the one honest nice guy, and then he dies. And the moment he dies is when you realize this show is gonna be fucking crazy. Because season 1, you know, which is the only season he appears in, that's, you know, it's the setup season. But he plays such an important role in the story. He is incredible. I am gonna put him at, he's an A tier character because of how important, he has more importance to, like, the narrative than any other character, I would say, on the entire show. And he dies, in, like, very early in the show. So that's great. Now let me sort. I'm gonna probably ignore like the lower ones. So let me sort S through C tier. That's all right. The Hound is at the bottom of A tier. Let's see. Yeah, Jamie's like here for that reason. Cersei. Da, da, da. Ned is now Oberyn is at the top. Oh, he's so good. Tyrion, Varys. We'll do it like that. That looks good to me. B tier, let's see. Who is like the best one here? This one is kind of hard actually. These ones. Okay, I know that Ygritte is like very low. Jon, I mean, he's doing better than that. Hodor. Now I'll put Hodor at the top of B tier because fuck it. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna cut this part out, and I'll just do this off camera. Alright, there you have it. I have all the boys here. This is in order, so C tier and up are all ordered pretty well. And I put like the more notable characters in D and E tier, like near the top. But yeah, very cool stuff. So this is actually in order now, so like left is higher, right? So this would mean that my top 3 characters on the show is Tywin, then Littlefinger, and then Oberyn. Is how that would work. But yeah, fucking awesome stuff. Yeah. Blah blah blah. Good. I have nothing more to say really. But please do shit on my list if you wish. And yes, Hodor is the top of B tier. I had to do it. But yeah. Thank you to the 2 people who watched this, and skippity doodah.